for the music should be at a decent level, as in decent as in it's not super loud, but it's still audible. And what we've got today is I've been building some Blood Angels Tactical Marines for the past day or two. And so I figured continue working on those. I've got some stuff to finish up on Solsaria, Priestess of the Sun. I don't have any commission stuff to work on. I had the one commission and I haven't had any others. So it's just going to be personal stuff to work on. I also need to get these fine ladies on bases. I built a Witch Seeker squad of Sisters of Silence because that's 5d6 auto hits, which just seems wonderful to me. So we got those going on, and I've got some other stuff I could work on, things that I'm trying to move, trying to get rid of, bits to clip, all that kind of fun stuff. So we will see. We'll see where this goes. I hope people come around and start watching. I sent out a tweet, so if you're following us on Twitter at either at Geek of Spades or at what is my Twitter handle? BTP_Jeremy, I think. So if you're yeah, BTP_Jeremy. If you're following us at either of those, then you should get updates when we do this kind of stuff. The other option, of course, is... Well, why is that there? The other option, of course, is you can follow us on Facebook. Stuff doesn't necessarily go automatically to Facebook because it runs... Our Facebook pages run through my personal Facebook, and I don't want that stuff going on my personal Facebook because that's weird, and I don't want to do it. So yeah, there's that. And lastly, I'm trying a new thing in Twitch. It's basically, you'll notice a little button pop up that has a little green face with glasses on it, and that is the Stream Elements button, or it's the Streamlabs button. And if you click on it and enable the extension, what it will allow you to do is you can request songs from SoundCloud through that button. So you don't have to do anything in chat anymore to request music. I've got the song queue pulled up right here, and if people start requesting songs, I'll press play on it and let it go. But until then, it's going to be this royalty-free YouTube for posterity's sake. And maybe upload it later or something. Not sure what. But that is an option if you're interested. There's some games you can play from the extension. It's kind of interesting. You can earn spades. There are a point system, which I can then use for giveaways and things like that. It's like Revlo, but it's run through Streamlabs. So yeah, I'm just gonna work on arming these Tactical Marines. I'm going to do my usual magnetize all the arms on the Sergeant, and then magnetize the heavy weapon options, so the heavy bolter and the heavy flamer that guy can take, because that's what comes in the kit. That's what I like to do, magnetize those options. I haven't decided yet on a special weapon. I think I'll probably end up magnetizing the special weapon guy so that he can take at least the Melta and Plaz, if not the flamer as well. And for the Sergeant, I'm just going to give him a combi weapon, combi Plaz, because plasma's good this edition, because it's not a death sentence to have a plasma gun. And yeah, that's what we're doing today. If I start getting bored or something, maybe I'll build some more Tartarus Terminators or Mark III Marines. But we'll see if I get that feeling inside my bones. It goes electric, baby, when you turn it on. So yeah, so it looks like I need to magnetize at least 3 arms on the Sergeant. Well, no, because I'm going to give him the combi class. So I don't have to magnetize any arms on the Sergeant. But I do want to make sure that the Sergeant has the proper set of arms. So let's give him 55 and 57, I think. So that's what we're going to do. Number 55 and number 57. Say what now? Yeah, I like to use the instructions when building Marines, because that way I ensure that the right arms go together. 55 and 57. It might be on a different sprue. Sprue. Launcher? No. That must go... Yeah, that goes with them. Okay. So where is 55? If anyone sees 55, shout it out. Oh, I see it. There's 55. 5B and 57B. Boop. And then we just need the combi bolter bits. And I'm gonna go with Plaz because it doesn't suck. And where's the half a bolter? There's the flamer bit. There it is, number 115. I think this will be the first sergeant I've built in a long time that isn't magnetized for every single option. Boop. And I think I fixed the frame rate issue, I think. So it shouldn't stutter quite so much. We will see if that's the case. At least for the live video. I know for the recording it doesn't stutter at all, so. Okay, I was wrong. I'm watching the live stream right now, and it's basically frozen. So, that's exciting. Yay. I mean, I could hope that that's... Yeah, it's showing good connection. We got 9% on drop frames. But we're getting 30 frames per second. I lowered the bitrate, hoping that that would fix things. Let's see if it'll let me lower the bitrate while it's live. Settings. This is annoying. Because this shouldn't be happening. Straight up just should not be happening. Oh, that's wonderful. Come on. You know, I really like the Tester's Model Master liquid cement. This stuff's pretty great. The other... Okay, I'm going to lower the bitrate to 1800. Because it's at 2000 and it's still too high. So let's try that. See if that helps. Anyway, I like the Tester's Model Master liquid cement, but I bought a bottle of the regular liquid cement for plastic models as well, because they were out of the Model Master before. And so it took a while to get it to me. Dropping stuff. I got to get down on the floor to find that. But the regular stuff has like a plasticky. I think the glue itself adheres on the inside, and it's not very great. One moment. Gotta go to the floor. To find the wire I just dropped that I use for unclogging stuff. Unfortunately, it's not really bright down here, so where's my phone? Where's my phone? Flashlight, please. What's with the lighting? That's weird. Finding bits of sprue. That's a thing. Let's stick in my pants. Did it? No, it's not even on the chair. Hair. Shouldn't be that hard to find. There's a metal wire hanging out on the carpet. Oh, sometimes I miss my fake wood floors. It's really easy to find stuff when it got dropped on fake wood floors. Because you'd hear it hit the floor. I hope you can hear me, because I'm not using the headset mic today. I'm using a mic that's just... I'm using my snowball, and so it's just sitting on the desk. Well, it's gone. So I've now lost both of those. I have to get a magnet and go over the floor later or something. Oh well. I like to use the razor blade for taking off contact points, and then, oh, that's wonderful, and then use this baby for actual mold line removal. As I have a tendency to cut myself when removing mold lines with a razor blade. I hope you like looking at my forehead. Christmas music. Weird. Yeah, we won't be painting these today because I gotta prime them and spray them with Mephiston Red and all that kind of stuff. I think I fixed the problem where you couldn't see what I was working on, though. This seems like a much better camera setup so far. So that's a plus. And I think my best option here is going to be to attach this arm first, and then attach the gun. Let's see if this glue is going to work with me. I need you to come out, glue. There's a filter or something at the bottom of the container. I don't want to switch back to my Model Master because I want to use this stuff for less delicate work, but it's this container, the bottle just sucks balls. It's the worst bottle of glue I've ever experienced. Ever. Never been a worse bottle of glue. Hey, look, stuff finally came out. Like, I love Tester's plastic cement, but this stuff is terrible. Helps if you can see what's going on, huh? It's been so long since I've streamed, I've forgotten where I need to put my hands. And I'm sorry about that. Streams between recordings. For those of you watching on YouTube, watching the little bit of hobby. Yeah, like I said, life gets in the way. I've been really busy job hunting and enjoying newlywed life, so the streams kind of come second. I have it on my desktop sticky notes somewhere, a goal to stream 3 times a week, but that just hasn't been happening the way I want it to. And I see, well, part of the reason is because of all the technical issues I've been having. This was not an issue at my place in Vegas. Technically, the streams worked fine, but since I moved back to Utah, my streams are terrible, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's the internet, if the upload speeds are just so bad that I can't get a decent stream out, or if maybe my computer's just starting to crap out. It's not a new computer by any means, but specification-wise, it should be working just fine. Especially when you consider this is the computer that's done all of our streams in the past. So there's not really a reason for it to not be working. And here's where we're at with the sergeant there. So he's got his combi plasma. Now, a lot of times I will wait to put arms on because I like to get the chest painted. But since this is just a tactical squad, I don't want to overdo it with stuff. Especially since this will be the first time I'm building it and not magnetizing and making everything static. So, I didn't... This is the wrong arm. Okay, so this was arm 55, was it not? Because this doesn't line up. 55B. Am I looking at the wrong set of bits? No. 55, 57 should go together. So why don't they? 57. Because this is arm number 83. That's why. I know what I did wrong. Okay. I was looking at the wrong numbers. Okay, I've got the right... I have the right arm now. So this is the one I needed. This is not. And this is why we dry fit. Especially on crowded sprues. I'm going to move some stuff out of the way and try and make this a little more visible. There we go. That ought to help some. Now the camera's over the area I actually work in. I believe it's raining outside. You probably can't hear it, and if you can, that means my microphone is way too sensitive. But, yeah. It's one of the things I've enjoyed about having relocated northerly, is the actual existence of weather. It's going to mean that I can't hobby year-round in the same way because I have to deal with humidity and stuff, but, you know, that's the cost you pay. There we go. He's got arms now. And I always glue heads on after the fact because that way I can get to, like, the backs of the backpack and stuff, or front of the backpack. So, as a general rule, heads get glued on after the model's painted. At least for me, because that's how I roll. And see, he's going to get magnetized, so I can definitely do him last. But that means one of you needs to be... Let's see, you'll be special weapon guy, so you're going to get magnets as well. Which means that these 7... my bolter boys. So let's figure out their arm situation. That's the head weapon. Heads. Arms. So let's start with this arm since I already cut it off. And this was number 83. So it couldn't be 83. 83 is not an arm bit. That's a shoulder pad. It was 65. So I need arm number 63 to go with that. That's why building the Sisters of Silence was so simple. All the bits are sequential. So arm 54 goes with arm 55. Makes it much, much easier. And we'll just stick you on this one. My favorite's always the Mark IV, so that will be the one that gets the most attention from me, whether I want it to or not. Just because it's my favorite. Mark IV armor has always been my favorite. Ah! Push too hard. Gotta be careful of that. I'm definitely gonna want to do some of the additional arm bits, like holding the magazine and reloading, that sort of thing. So I'm gonna have to figure out which pieces go with that stuff. Because there's got to be a bolter on here that doesn't have a magazine in it, unless I have to cut the magazine off, which just seems stupid. Do, 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 do. In fact, we'll go ahead and, just as a reminder to myself, there's the magazine hand. Mm-hmm. And I think I also want to include the knife-wielding hand, because they are Blangels after all. So why not? I'm just going to remove some bits for things that I definitely want to be doing. So like the plasma gun and the... Actually, I'll hang off on the Melta. Instead, I think I'll hang on to the Melta for modifying maybe some assault marines or something. Put the flamer and the plasma gun in there. Let's see. Oh, and I know it's not the sweet, sweet hotness that it used to be, but because it's the only way I can get him in my army. There's a grav gun. So I can magnetize that bit on too. C stage 9C. Sure, let's see stage 9C. For additional arms. 68 and 70 go with those. Okay, so let's do those right now. So where is 60? There's 68. This is our... Stuff just keeps sticking to me and falling down, and it's getting annoying. That's 68. So that is our knife hand. And arm number 70 is our reloader. Oh, there's other combi bits. There's 70. Okay, so those go together. We need a bolter for this guy. So how about we go with... I'm wondering something. Let's go with... well, let's keep it simple. Where's a fairly basic bolter? How about this one? Bolter number 101. That one. And I know I'm supposed to drill my bolters, but I usually don't. I end up just putting a black dot on the tip of them. So they look drilled, but they aren't drilled. I know I'd save time by drilling them, or at least painting time by drilling them. And maybe I will with this squad. I'll get them all built. I'll get out my power drill and drill them all at the same time. And let that get to the point where it at least holds. Like a so. Bolter, baby! Can't call that a thing because that's the sisters. Sisters of Battle. Of which I have some of those I might work on too. Got my Ikrates that are all ready to go. Alright, so there's our second Marine, sans shoulder pads. In fact, this is boring. It's not thrilling for me, which is why I usually watch stuff on the side while I'm assembling. And so I'm sure it's not thrilling for you. So what I'll do is I'm going to push these guys to the back. And I'm going to have to clear some stuff off to get to my paints. But let's switch this over to a painting stream instead of an assembly stream. I don't need these sprues anymore. I kind of want to keep them though because there's some good swords on here. The sisters bits, like these swords, they could come in real handy for power swords for stuff. Because they're very pretty. Very pretty. So I'll just put them in there for now. Don't need my blade out, so let's sleeve that. I'll put all these in here. You two can go in there as well, so you don't get lost. Alright, and then I got a bunch of World War III stuff sitting on my paints. Team Yankee models. So, get these Cobras, A-10s, and these 7 M1 Abrams out of the way. open up my paint containers. Yeah, I'm quite, yeah, these are fun models if you're looking for a nice 15 mil modern combat game. Alright, so there's those. Here is my palette of wet. And here's my water. And what we're on is finishing up Solsaria, which means I need... my wet palette's working a lot better now that I got a container that actually stays sealed. Not perfect, but... gets the job done. Once again, for those watching live, music request is on either via Moobot, or if you want to test out the Streamlabs extension on Twitch, just click the button that pops up on the viewer when you mouse over, and as long as you authorize the app on your account, the extension on your account, you should be able to request music from SoundCloud through there. I don't know what their music selection is like on SoundCloud, but it seemed like an interesting idea. I want to try it. There we go. Woo! There's one thing left to do, and I need a really, really fine brush for it. I remember the fine brush. And this is my metallic water. What am I doing? Here we go. She is done. Just need basing now. And to keep this interesting, let's paint up. Let's work on these ladies. Alright, so first off, I need to switch my water pots. Should probably clean them, but I'm not going to because I'm lazy like that, and I don't want to. Alright, so the first thing we have to do is bust out my gray washes, which are gray and light gray. real quick, I'm going to move these Marines out of the way because they are kind of blocking my workspace. That's about as out of the way as I can get them. Okay, I'll stop falling over. I might put some weights on the bottom of their bases at some point. Alright, I need use. Use is what I need. Boop. And we're going to start with... Need to shake them up. So these are vehicles, or that's what they're designed for. They're vehicle washes. And as such, they kind of have a little bit of a grainy look to them, but they work just fine for what I use them for. The problem is, this one, despite being labeled gray, and this one being light gray, I believe this one is darker. But I can't remember. So, what we're going to do is we're going to start with light gray. I'm going to put a few drops in there. We're going to grab us a relatively fine brush. Put some water on it. We're going to get some nice light colored wash here. And I do some highlighting as well, so I'm not overly concerned about it oversaturating the white. I just really want to get it into the recesses of the white armor. It nicely breaks up the white. Now I know there's a game color gray wash as well that Vallejo makes, but I have not had very much luck with their game color washes. They tend to do weird things on my models. They pool in weird places, and I get lots of tide marks and stuff. So I switched over to these model washes, and as you can see, hopefully, you get a pretty good, you get some pretty good shadowing and shading definition from these, as long as you keep them thin, so that you don't get a lot of the weird material stuff that's in the wash. And as long as you don't drop the model. Yeah, I know it says going mainly for shading, but as I said, I do a highlight on the white armor, so I'm not overly concerned about keeping it just in the recesses. And anywhere it comes out a little thick, I just get a little water on my brush and brush it away. Right here across the top of the armor where it's not supposed to be quite so gray. On the boob plate. I haven't entirely decided how I'm going to do their gothic jump packs either, so there's some stuff going on there. And real quick here, I'm going to add some updates to this, to my stream title. Hashtag Raging Heroes. Hashtag Sisters of Battle. Hashtag Warhammer. Wapa! Alright, just adding some hashtags to the name. You know, so if anyone wants to come by and see, they know what the heck they're getting into. Ought to be handy. Okay, I think the stream seems to have balanced out. We're getting about 30 frames per second. CPU usage is around 20%. Upload speeds around 2K. 2 megs. Our drop frames around 10%. So I think the stream may have finally balanced out some. Some. Obviously not entirely, because it's still doing its stupid stutter thing. It bugs the crap out of me. This is not supposed to do that. In case anyone wonders, the reason for the weird music that I usually have playing is because it's supposed to be royalty-free music, and we do have some viewers who would like to watch us live, but only watch on YouTube. So I try to keep the music royalty-free so that we can upload the stream and they can watch it later. So if you're not a fan of the royalty-free music, start watching us live so we can start playing non-royalty-free music. Because that's the only way that's going to happen. I'd be better off just grabbing some Q-tips and cotton swabs, cleaning up the wash. Might be. I realize you cannot see much of my head, and you're welcome for that. Otherwise you have to look at my face. Nobody wants that. You're here for the models. No, I'm not a model. That's a nasty mold line. As I said, this is primarily as a shade, so there will be a highlight, and along with the highlight, there will be an additional wash with the gray as opposed to the light gray, just to accentuate the shadows. Because this brings out the recesses quite nicely, providing definition and depth to these white armor panels. But I still like to have some actual shadows in there. If anyone was curious how the white itself was created, I believe there's one of the prior stream videos that shows me doing it, but it is essentially gray primer from a rattle can, followed by Vallejo gray surface primer from an airbrush, and then Stynylrez gray primer, and then Stynylrez white primer. And it gives a nice gradient going up to the white primer. So essentially, what I'm doing now is shading white primer. And it ends up looking pretty good. I have been generally pleased with the way that these ladies have come out. Of course, part of that could be just because Raging Heroes miniatures are very wonderful miniatures to paint. Highly detailed, well proportioned. Sometimes they can be a bit of a pain to assemble, but that's, resin boutique miniatures. That's just how they go. I have only assembled one resin mini that I didn't have any problems with bits not being an issue on it, and that was the commission I did of that Grimskull not Abaddon model. Can't get in there with my finger, so just get some water on my brush, and we'll push the wash off of the recesses, or off of the high points. Keep it white. Ah. Headphones like this always make my head itch. Yep. Drop my brush. I was having a heck of a time keeping things in my hands this morning. There we go. Very lovely. As you can see, there are now some shadows to the white. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take the regular gray. We're going to add a little bit of it to the to the light gray wash that I just used. When I say a little, I mean like 3 drops. And we're going to get a finer tip brush, and we're going to try and get some of this into the deepest recesses of these ladies' armor. So like, we want to do around the heels. Want to do underneath the knee pads. Around the bodice. Stir this stuff up. Getting a lot of medium and not a lot of wash. Ooh, it is definitely raining outside. Good thing I don't have any priming planned for today. Wouldn't be able to do it. See, there we go. So we get a nice shade to the armor, the deepest recesses. Add some just around the waist here to distinguish between the armor bits. For my reference. And we're going to do this on the other 4. I gotta watch and be careful of the way this wash behaves, because as I said, it has some particulates in it that add kind of a stringy texture, which I'm sure is great on like vehicles. Not so great if you're not trying to add rust effects. And I am not trying to add rust effects. I do not like doing dirty models. That's why I don't have anything Nurgle. It's just not my cup of tea. I like clean paint jobs. Not that I can't paint dirty models, I just don't like to. Never been my forte. Let's hope the power doesn't fluctuate again like it did right before I started. delayed the start of my stream like half an hour. I waited for everything to reboot. And some of these areas that I'm washing will end up just getting completely painted over with other colors. So it's not like this is 100% determining the color scheme of the rest of the model. I just like to use it to bring out my shadows and figure out where stuff is. It helps for that sort of thing. Very useful for that sort of thing. I'm not sure why I think that this will work. I always try to stream around the same time that Emma streams, except on days when she's not streaming, thinking that maybe I'll pick up her viewers, but it's never happened. I don't know why I keep thinking it will. So maybe I'll start streaming in the evenings, mountain time. Since I can't seem to pick up the UK demographic like Shadow Claimer does. Maybe I can pick up a bunch of Americans home from work. Maybe. And the problem is that's also when like my wife gets home from work and I like spending time with her, so and since I just generally do this for fun, I'd love to make some money doing it, but never have had the viewership to even attempt that. And one more, and we will be done with the gray washes. You can get some white highlights and start blacking stuff out. This color scheme is very black and white. That ends up being how it looks a lot. So, which is not a bad thing. It's very striking, and I quite like it. So it works out well. There we go. Gray highlights are done. Or sorry, gray lowlights because it's washes. So kind of the opposite of highlights. Just looking into some stuff real quick. Let's check the health of my stream. which I don't think is particularly good right now. Twitch that. Okay. Maybe this? Just trying to do a quick scan to figure out what the current health of my stream is. And I'm not finding the usual tool I use. Oh, here we go. This the one I want. Let's log this in. I'm doing a quick inspection of my stream's current health. See how it's holding up. Let's close that. I need to open it here. The part that's actually logged in on. While we wait for this wash to dry. It might be about time to get a new wet palette paper. Mine's getting a little crowded. There's not much room on there for new paint. And while we wait, I do need to make some modifications to my hospitaler. Do some stuff on our backpack. So we will do that real quick. While we wait for gray Vallejo model wash to dry. Just need to break up some of this white back here. Add some more color. To the churches that these ladies all carry on their backs. Let that dry real quick. Inspector login. Whew. Authorize Twitch Inspector. Sure. Stuff's just taking so long. Taking so long. Stop taking so long. We've had 44 unstable events today. But it says it's stable. Let's see the chart. I don't need to see the past 2 days. The last hour works just fine. Whew. Yeah, we've had some definite drops. It's not good. But for the most part, it seems to be okay. So I don't know what's going on. Bitrate's holding steady at just below 2,000, but we had a serious drop about 10:30, so about half an hour ago, and another one around 10:46. So I'm not sure what happened there, but I wonder if that's just where it freezes. Oh well. I'm gonna set this to last 2 hours. There we go, and we'll use that to monitor every once in a while, see what's going on. And it's close enough to the way I usually do my gold without me having to add additional paint. So that helps break up the color on her back. And once that's dry, maybe I'll hit it with some Agrax. But in the meantime, it's close enough and it works for me. Okay, which means we're on the ever so fun step, blacking out. Which does not actually mean what you probably think it means. We're not going to pass out drunk or anything like that. We're just gonna paint the color black on a whole lot of parts of this model. There's my brush. Okay. So that's what I want. And then I need a black paint. Not that one. I just want plain old Vallejo model color black. In here somewhere. This is part of the problem of having... So, when I moved, I had a big paint rack that goes up on the wall. It holds 96 paints. I put my most common colors up there for the most part. And it did pretty well. But with where I'm living now, it's very much a temporary, hopefully, kind of housing situation. Because it's basically a 1.5 bedroom apartment. In the basement. And... it's not where we would like to stay, so I'm trying to avoid putting stuff like that up on the walls in the hopes that... It's the same reason I don't have my display cabinet set up. We just don't have the room for it. And I don't have the room... I don't want to put holes in the wall or anything, so that's where we're stuck at. Where's my black? There's German gray. I'm going to need that later. There's gray. I'm going to need that later. But I just need black. Okay, so that's the ribbon. Black gray. I might need that later. Now I know it's in here because I've used it. That's oily steel, so these are all metallics right here. That's matte black war paint. I just want to lay on black. Oh. I know you're in here. Just used you recently. I'm gonna put you away. Maybe it's another container. Check the other container. More German gray. They're all mostly airbrush colors. Black glaze, but that is not black. Medium sea gray. It's not on the desk, so I don't want to brush paint with primer right now. So that's out of the question for the time being. But I know you're in here. Show yourself, black. Vallejo game model color black. Alright. It's not in that one. So it is in here somewhere. Now if I could just find it.
The eternal struggle of locating your paints. It's a thing.
Okay, I'm going to take this one out just in case. Because I found this one. This isn't the color I'm looking for.
The one I'm looking for should be near that one. I'm not going to use game color black because it dries glossy. I hate painting over it. Not because I like the gloss, but because it does weird things. Russian green, black gray.
Maybe I'll just do black gray and a Nuln Oil.
Let's shade it down. I cannot seem to find my black paint. This is not good and it's very bizarre. I don't want to go buy more paint.
Well, I guess we'll use this. Okay, not the color I wanted to use, mainly because I don't have a whole lot of it left and I really like this paint. Just slop that on there and let's go to town. Start with you. One of the reasons I really like Army Painter colors is their consistency is very thin, whilst having really good coverage. At least for the ones I've had. I haven't had any problems with Army Painter paints, but I don't have a whole lot of them. I have a couple greens, black, and white, and that's basically it. I can't remember why I bought them or where I bought them even, but they've been good. Maybe want to try the rest of the range. I just don't have the rest of the range. And I looked at it, and there are definitely some colors I would really like to use. I just haven't. For those of you interested in watching Destiny streamers, if you are a player of Destiny as I am, Char just went live and he's a really good one. You should give him a follow. He's very fun. He's part of King Gathalion's crew. So they were number 3 for finishing the raid. And we're in world first or anything. But they're fun to watch. They were in world's first. They were world's funnest. Alright, now I gotta figure out which cloth is which, because the insides of these cloths are gonna be red, the outsides are black. So, is this the inside of the rear or the or the inside of the front? Tough choice. I think I might just do the this all in like a... Oop, I didn't mean to put paint on there. in like a silvery color. So it'll be kind of a silver flying buttresses. And I'm thinking I'm going to do this stuff in like paper, so like purity seal kind of stuff, but I'm not real sure. Have not fully committed to doing that. In the meantime, I do know that their sleeves are black. I know this because they are Order of the Sacred Rose, which is black, white, and red. That's their colors. Water on there, make sure it's getting down into the crevices. Blacking out the pistol. Okay. One. It's like painting 5 Celestines. But all at the same time. Reminds me, at some point I've got to also paint Sister Urzrabel. Who is the Raging Hero's greater Seraphim, and is basically Saint Celestine without her Gemini, which is what I will be using her as if I ever play with Saint Celestine without Gemini. Then I'll be using Exalted Sister Urzrabel as my Celestine. She is a sweet looking model. She's even got the 6 wings thing going on. Again, I might have to switch brushes here. Something with a little finer tip. This one's a little bit frayed. It works fine for most things, but if you're getting these real tight corners, real tight spaces, it's not the greatest. You guys make some decisions on these bits of stuff on their waists. Like which parts are their loincloth thingies and which parts are ribbon. Have some issues with paint not sticking, which is sometimes an issue I've had when you thin down the army paint or war paints. It happens on occasion. It's not a major issue. You just have to add an extra layer or two, or go super thick, which with army painter isn't a problem because even when it's not particularly watered down, it doesn't obscure detail, at least that I've noticed. I know this is not a sponsored stream. I wish it were. That'd be great. So I'm looking at these. I don't think they actually have a loincloth. Doesn't look like they do. It's entirely possible they just have the one long cloth, butt cloth, and then they have a couple of smaller, like, ones that hang off of their hips. In which case I might have to reevaluate the way I'm painting them. Not like a huge reevaluation, but do I want to do those as purity seal kind of paper things, or should I do them as like red cloth and that kind of sort of thing? One of the things I love about Raging Heroes models is they take care of drilling out the barrels for you. Like that. The hollow barrel of the gun is part of the detail on the gun. It's one less thing someone can yell at you for. You didn't drill out your barrels. I didn't have to. Because there was no need to. The sculptor put them there for me. I have to get a finer brush to get the space between the armor and the gun. Yeah. I'm not saying Raging Heroes models are perfect or anything. There are things that could be better. Some of the attachment points for their resin sprue type stuff are a little questionable. The amount of time it takes to get stuff before it ships is really slow. But the models themselves are pretty great. I have no real complaints about the models themselves. They have been a pleasure to work with. I'm just very excited to get the other half of my Kickstarter stuff, which is my other 15 regulars and my 2 war pulpits. And once they go retail, I can figure out what I'm going to do for like Dominion squads and that sort of thing. I'm going to get myself some immolators, repulsors, and figure out what I want to do for what are they called? Their heavy support tank, the one with the church that shoots missiles. Because I don't like the church that shoots missiles. For one, it's made of metal and it's stupid. I'd rather like make a whirlwind, which I know is an option. I could just use whirlwinds as those X. It starts with an EX, and I cannot remember the name. If I had anyone in chat, they could probably tell me. But I don't think I do. So I think I might try going and getting a 500-point game of 40k in tonight. Give these ladies a test on the table. Our local hobby town is doing an escalation league, and while I can't afford to actually play in the league, I'm sure there's some people who want to try 500-point games with their lists so they can get to know them better. So, and I believe it's either a hobby night or it's a game night at Hobby Town for Warhammer, so why not take my sisters down there and see if I can't get someone to play a 500-point game with me. Because that's if I really work what's in my list, what I own currently, I can just barely get 500 points. Which is why I really need the other half of my Kickstarter to show up. So that I can up my points. There's not a lot of people playing 500-point games of 40k right now. Turns out people want to play bigger games. for the blacking. Maybe we'll start doing until people start showing up to watch again. Since this is basically Zenish painting, a title which I kind of stole from Oasis Rising, but since she hasn't posted a video in months at least, I'm not too concerned about it. I'll start playing the Kevin MacLeod music that I play for that while I paint until people start showing up and requesting music or something. I know people don't like this stuff. It's not popular. No one wants to listen to it. The only reason I use it is because it's royalty free, supposedly. Like the playlist says it is, but the last playlist I used turned out to have copyrighted music on it, and so I got hit with a copyright strike in one of my hobby time videos. Fortunately, we don't monetize, so it's not a big deal. But if we ever want to, it would be nice to know that the music we're using is, in fact, royalty free. And I know Kevin MacLeod's is, so... I've gotten a little too much black paint on my palette, but that's okay. Wasn't sure exactly how much I was going to need anyway, and it's a wet palette, so it'll be waiting there for me when I need it, unless I decide to change out my parchment paper. That was a sudden stop. Alright, well, I'm going for an hour and a half. I think I'm going to call it there for now. Might come back later. My wife is going to be busy tonight, so it's just going to be me. So I might go out and play some games and or come back and continue the stream, do some more streaming. I don't know whether or not I'll be working on these ladies or if I'll be doing something else, but that might be it. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and call it there for now, and I'll have to see if I can find my actual like black paint, because I need it. It comes in handy for stuff like painting black. I found it. See, here it is. I found it. I was confused because it was next to gunmetal, and so I thought it was metallic. Anyway, thanks again for anyone who decided to come watch or is watching late at a later date. We'll just mute that. And would love to see some of you stop by in the chat on Twitch. So if you're watching this on YouTube, check us out. Follow our Twitter. See when we go live. Come hang out. And yeah, thanks again. And everyone, I hope you get some good hobby done.